You know that your aim isn't as good as it could be, so you decided to take matters into your own hands. You looked up aim guides and tutorials on how to improve your aim, and eventually got introduced to aim trainers and aim routines. So you booted up aimlabs, played your first tag FPS routine, with no idea what's going on, eventually finding it boring or not helping you at all. So you started researching YouTube videos, seeking even more routines, trying out so many to a point that you got overwhelmed and don't even know if your aim is improving anymore. If there is so many videos with different routines, which one will bring you the most results? I'm pretty sure by now most of you already figured out that there is no such a thing as best routine. Ideally, you would want to have a routine that actually works with your own weaknesses, and this either requires you to have a good coach or just good understanding of your own problems and possible task solutions. So in today's video, I will try to help you with making yourself both a nice farm up and training routine following very simple and easy to follow steps. My tag is Minigod, I'm an aim coach and I'm actively working with professional Valorant and CS players helping with their aim. I have worked with players such as Chronicle, Automatic, Stico or Avova. Before starting with creating any routine or choosing any pre-made routine, we need to find an issue that we want to address within our aim. Instead of mindlessly following some routine, let's say Demon 1 routine or even the revamped version of it, try to think more about your own gameplay while looking for specific in-game situations in which you struggle the most. You don't need to understand aiming at a deep level to notice things such as that your flicks are ending up landing over targets, or that it's hard to adjust into moving targets, or even that you have a tendency to panic in situations in which someone appears on your screen. Even the most basic understanding can already help you a lot with making aim routines more useful. I know that a lot of you might struggle to point out issues that you have inside of the game. That's why in this part I will show you what you can do in order to identify them very easily. We will be using Voltaic Valorant benchmarks. These benchmarks were designed to help players assess their raw aiming ability in context of Valorant. In order to show how useful they can be, I will be using an example from my coaching with Twitch streamer Masayoshi. But first, here's a special tip to help you play better from today's video sponsor, ExitLag. If you are tired of having low FPS and high ping issues, then ExitLag has you covered. It addresses server-related issues by providing you with dedicated routes to ensure smooth and lag-free gameplay. This works for a wide variety of games too, and thanks to AI route optimizer, ExitLag can find the best routes for data packets in real time, optimizing connection across over 2000 game servers worldwide. Not only that, but they also ensure faster and more secure connection by using 4 different paths at the same time. And if you think that ExitLag will not work in your country, they have over 1000 servers across 5 continents and 18 million weekly optimizations. ExitLag's newest plans called Duos and Squads also allows you to help out your friends if they are dealing with ping related issues. Additionally, making an account is very easy, and if you are not sure if ExitLag is gonna work for you, then no worries, as you can just use their free trial that doesn't require you to use credit card to activate. After trying out ExitLag, my personal favorite feature would be their FPS boost, where you can boost your FPS with ease. If you are struggling with FPS problems on top of connection issues, ExitLag is the way to go. If you want to try ExitLag, now's the best time to do it, as thanks to Black November, they are running a huge limited time offer that allows you to get it for half the price. You can access it by clicking the link in the description or by applying discount code MiniGodCS.
I didn't realize I signed up for the Equinox, the most bougie aim training. I'm talking Voltaic by Minigod, the world record holder for 6-shot on aimlabs. This is what he wrote up for me based off a DM I sent him. What my aim is like, what my errors are, what I'm strong at, and how we need to fix this, or like how he thinks we can fix this.
Here is an example from my coaching with Masayoshi, in which we could observe that inside of the game we had a lot of issues with incorporating our arm to the whole aiming process. This issue was prevalent in flick situations, and also in situations in which we were getting a wider peek on us. Strangely enough, while using benchmarks, we were able to find out that despite our ranks being somewhat close to each other, we had this one particular task that was ranked significantly lower in comparison to all others. After a further inspection, while we take a look at this task, we can observe that we need to perform prolonged tracking motion with our hand. This means if we are not able to use our arm, we will struggle so much because our wrist range of motion is very limited. Knowing this issue in this case, we already know that inside of routines, we should be seeking scenarios that will provide us with more arm-focused training, as isolating this particular issue can already bring more benefits than just like spamming any random routine from YouTube. If you know what you struggle with, Like, it's so much easier to get some value from aim training. Like, this particular problem, you might also struggle with this. So in this case, what you could do is experiment with maybe grinding the same task a bit easier versions, or even come back to the routines you've tried already, and instead of like playing them, try to just look for some tasks in them that are isolating what you struggle with the most. And now the biggest problem that you might came across is that even if you understand what you struggle with, you might not know what tasks will be the best for what you're looking for. To make your lives more convenient, so we can take some value out of this video, I've made like 4 routines that are targeting each category of aiming prevalent in Valorant and Valorant benchmarks. This means that after benchmarking your aim, you can easily go into these routines and use them as a template for your own routines. That's why in the routines I made sure to include as many different type of tasks as possible. This way, if you struggle with overflicking or with flicking too slow, you will have tasks that are isolating both of these issues at the same time. And by the way, you don't even have to use these routines. You can just use them as a way of finding a task or two and isolate these tasks while spamming them maybe for like 2 or 3 days. Because if you're new to a skill and if you struggle with something very basic, it's better to apply more reps to one specific thing rather than like mixing it up. For example, as of now, I'm one of the best static players in aim trainers, and I've never done any routines to improve at static. All I've done was just researching routines of other players and looking for tasks in which I was struggling the most, and then thinking what causes me to struggle. And that's how I was focusing on my weaknesses. And this way, I was also making aim training more fun, because I was not really forced to follow any program. This being said, with this video, I wanted to kinda open your minds in context of aim training, as really often new players tend to get into that process of constantly looking for the best routines for them and their game, while not being mindful about it. A lot of players that reached high level usually were following very similar process to me, which basically was looking for issues in aim and watching high level VODs for technique. Instead of spamming some random routines, even from the best players, we kinda want to use them as a way of finding some cool tasks that can help us with aim improvement. That's why the attack FPS routines I've mentioned before can be used as a good starting point for you to learn more about some nice training tasks, as they were made based on issues that I've seen out in players that I was working with. So the best thing that you can do as a newer player in order to make use of aim training and aim routines is basically using voltaic Valorant benchmarks to benchmark your aim. Because, as you've seen before, in Masayoshi's case, they easily showcased the exact problem that we faced in Valorant when our flicks were not performed with addition of arm movement for initial flick. After benchmarking, take a note at the weakest tasks and their category on the left, and then take a look at one of the 4 routines I've made, and choose the one that is in the same category as your weakest task, and then play them a little in order to find out scenarios that you think are reflecting your issues even more. I hope by using benchmarks while understanding your own aiming issues, you will be able to make the training worth, and that you will not be relying on some random routines, but rather use them as a resource to find some valuable tasks that could help you far more than just mindlessly spamming them with no idea what's going on.